All right, let's get right into it. Today we're running a bit of a strategy session, specifically for business owners and marketers here in Dubai. We're going to cut through all the noise and really focus on what's going to make a difference for your search rankings and, let's be honest, your revenue as we look ahead to 2026.
It's the question on every business owner's mind, right? You're putting money into SEO, you're seeing something happen, but in a market as fast and competitive as Dubai, are you really connecting with the most valuable customers? Or does it feel like your budget is just vanishing into thin air?
So, to get some real answers, we've set up a kind of virtual roundtable. We've gathered some of the most common, pressing questions we hear from business owners all across Dubai. And here to provide the answers, based on more than 16 years of hands-on experience, is the expert team from YouthMonk. Let's dive in. So, first things first, let's talk about winning locally. This is just non-negotiable for success in the UAE. This isn't just about getting found. It's about being found by people who are ready to buy, right now, in your neighborhood. Okay, our first question is a fantastic and very common one. So this clinic owner has done a great job building their brand. People know their name, but the real goal, the real growth, comes from attracting new clients, people who don't know the clinic's name but know exactly what they want. So what's the play here? Let's hear from the YouthMonk team.
Here's the deal. Google's #1 job is to give the searcher the most relevant result possible. So if someone's in Dubai Marina looking for a hydrofacial, a web page that is specifically about hydrofacials in Dubai Marina is always going to be a stronger signal than a generic Our Services page. So the action step is clear. Build out these hyperlocal pages. Think laser hair removal in JLT, Botox in downtown Dubai. You're telling Google you are the authority for that service in that spot. And here's the mistake so many people make. They cram 20 different treatments onto one page. That just confuses Google. It doesn't know what you're an expert in. Give each valuable service its own dedicated stage to shine.
Okay, next up is another really common problem that hits close to home for a lot of businesses. You're on Google Maps, your profile is getting views, but your phone just isn't ringing. So what's the disconnect? Let's see what the YouthMonk team has to say.
The big mindset shift here is to stop seeing your Google business profile as just a listing and start treating it like a mini storefront. One of the most powerful and honestly most underused features is the Q&A section. Don't just wait for people to ask. You already know their questions. Go in there and add things like, do you offer free parking? Or what are your weekend hours? And answer them yourself. You're removing friction before they even think to ask. And that point about negative reviews, so important. Ignoring a bad review just looks bad. But responding professionally, that shows every potential customer that you're accountable and you care. It can turn a negative into a huge positive.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Once you've got your local game dialed in, the next layer is building authority. This is all about making your business look like a credible, trustworthy leader in your space. And a lot of this work happens off of your website.
The big, scary world of backlinks. We hear this concern all the time. It can feel like the Wild West out there, and a lot of bad advice can actually hurt your site. So what does a safe, smart, and genuinely effective authority-building strategy actually look like today? Let's get the breakdown from the YouthMonk team.
This is a huge mindset shift, but it's crucial. Stop thinking link building and start thinking digital PR. The goal isn't just to collect links, it's to earn mentions from places that matter. A fantastic and totally safe strategy for 2026 is getting on podcasts in your niche. When you're a guest, you naturally get a high-quality link in the show notes. But even better, you're building your personal brand and talking directly to your target audience. This really drives home the warning. Just ignore those emails selling high DA links. For an e-commerce brand we saw in the US, a single guest spot on the right podcast drove more real, qualified traffic than a dozen of those paid links ever could. It's all about relevance.
And that idea of having a clear, relevant strategy, it's everything. It's not about finding shortcuts, it's about having a solid process. You know, at YouthMonk, our CEO, Mr. Ramachandra Kumbale, is extremely hands-on with SEO direction. The level of hard work and clarity he brings into ranking businesses really sets the tone for how we operate. It's all about that process-driven approach.
And that's actually a perfect segue into our next topic, the real-world business side of SEO. You know, the stuff that really matters, budgets, realistic timelines, and how the very bones of your website can either set you up for success or hold you back.
This is it, the million dirham question, right? You're spending money every month, and you need to know, when do I get to see a real return? It's a totally fair question, and it deserves a straight answer. So here's the YouthMonk team's take on timelines.
Look, the hard truth is that SEO is a marathon, not a sprint.
For a B2B company in Dubai, those first 3 months are all about laying the foundation. Technical fixes, keyword research, on-page stuff. You're not really going to see leads then. Around months 4 to 6, you'll start to see some green shoots, maybe some traffic growth. But the real, qualified leads, that momentum usually starts to build in the second half of that first year. That's when things really start to compound. And year 2, that's when you're scaling up and defending your top spots. Just understanding that rhythm is key to staying the course.
Okay, so you see this all the time with startups, right? That really clean, slick, one-page scrolling website. It looks great, but does that minimalist design have a hidden SEO cost? Let's hear what the experts think.
What's really at play here is focus. A single-page site really only gets one shot to rank for a very narrow topic. The solution is to think bigger, structurally. You want to evolve into what's called a pillar and cluster model. Imagine your main services page is the pillar, the big overview. Then, that page links out to multiple cluster pages, and each of those goes deep on one specific service. This lets you optimize each page for a totally different customer need, which hugely expands your reach. But, and this is a big but, you can't just create these pages and forget about them. You have to connect them with internal links, creating a logical path for both your users and for Google.
All right, for our last section, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The biggest change to search in, well, forever is happening right now: AI. So what does this actually mean for your business and your strategy heading into 2026?
This is the big question, isn't it? If Google's AI is just going to spit out the answer directly on the results page, what's the point of our website? How do we possibly stay relevant in that world?
It's a total flip in thinking. For the last 20 years, SEO was about one thing: getting your URL into that top 10 list of blue links. Now, in this new world of what some are calling generative engine optimization, or GEO, the goal is completely different. The game is about becoming a trusted, citable source that the AI uses to build its answers.
So how do you become that source? It all comes down to what Google calls EEAT. That's experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trust. And that first E for experience is now the most important part. For a co-working space aggregator in India, we found that content detailing their unique, hands-on process for vetting locations performed way better than generic best-of lists. So the action for you is to mine your own business for that unique experience. Document your processes, publish original findings, share your actual opinions. And the warning here is pretty clear. If your content is just a rewrite of what's already out there, you're going to become invisible. AI is looking for something new, not just a rehash of the old.
Wow, okay. We covered a ton of ground there. From hyperlocal tactics to the future of AI search. Let's boil it all down into a few key actions you can walk away with today.
So if you're going to do 4 things after listening to this, here they are. 1. Go hyperlocal. Get granular and create pages for specific Dubai neighborhoods. 2. Activate your Google business profile. Turn it from a static page into an active sales tool. 3. Build authority the smart way. Focus on real-world relevance, not old, meaningless metrics. And 4, most importantly, prioritize EEAT. Make your unique, first-hand experience the star of your content.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought. As you plan for what's next, ask yourself this one simple question. Is my strategy built on a clear, logical process designed for real, long-term growth, or am I just chasing shortcuts and empty promises? The answer to that question will define your success in 2026 and well beyond.